let's talk a little bit about dating in the pandemic, right? Like we discussed earlier, off camera. Some couples didn't fucking make it, and some couples got stronger.
Cardi done broke up with Offset twice during this pandemic.
Cardi done broke up with Offset
That's true.
twice.
That is very true.
And look, you know what I say? You know what I say? There's a fringe group out there, y'all. There's a fringe group. There's a group of, this is like I said, I was joking with my wife about this. I said, there's a dude out there who been crushing the hell on this one woman who been a side chick this whole, like her whole last 2 years. Follow me on this. Follow me on this. Now, the man or the husband, whatever, can't come around because the pandemic. So now she quarantining with the dude that been the best friend. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know y'all met one of these dudes before.
Yeah,
And now he's on the cusp. He's either gonna be a COVID cutie for a couple months.
What?
He might flip that into an actual relationship.
I mean, I can't. I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't even know how to respond to that.
I'm still stuck on COVID cutie.
I know. Where do you get that from? You can tell you just had a kid. COVID cutie.
COVID cutie.
COVID cutie. You wouldn't have never said that 5 years ago.
Not at all. What I'm saying is, like, let's just go on that. Like, some relationships didn't make it, some did, and some probably found love during this time.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier. We were talking off camera before the show started. Anyway, how you're forced to live with someone that you really didn't get a chance to know. You didn't get to know that person, right? So now you're stuck, especially for the first 3 months. You really couldn't go anywhere. Most people wasn't even working. Somehow I was selling cars through a pandemic, but that's a whole nother story. And it's so weird. I've talked to a lot of couples like that, where they've been together I talked to one that was together for like 10 years, man, like 10 whole years, where they worked 8 hours, 9 hours, maybe 10 hours. They go home, they see each other for 2 or 3 hours. You might have sex for 30 minutes and you go to bed, wake up, and then it's the same thing all over again. You got to wake up, take care of the kid, go to bring them to school. Everybody goes to work and you're doing the same thing for 5 days a week. Saturdays, you go and get groceries and you're doing all these other things, right? So Sundays, the only time you get to spend real big time with someone, but you develop that time when you miss them because you haven't really seen them. You might have seen them all but 15 hours in 6 to 7 days. Up
and
until
now
Sunday, so you're so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's an all day, every day thing. Either you're working from home or no one's working, and now you have to worry about bills and all of these other things, and everybody's pissed off at each other because you're around that person 24/7, and you never really got to know the person. Now you're getting to know that person, during the pandemic, and you're supposed to be with each other, and you start, man, I didn't know you smell like this in the morning. Usually you just jump up out of bed. Now you figured out this person's feet stink. And, they have certain mannerisms that you don't like. And it's like, how come you didn't notice that before? Because you didn't have that person long enough to even notice it. You were just happy you had someone. And that's what happened during the pandemic. That's why a lot of couples started breaking up and falling apart, because now you were forced to look at each other in all seasons, bad, good, happy, sad, crusty eyes and all. And you were just forced to do that.
What does that say about the real status of like marriages and relationships these days? I feel like we are too busy in general. And I think sometimes folk get married or attach themselves to somebody just for the sake of having someone, and versus not having them. And, you know, now that they have all this time to relate and all that, and it's all falling to crap. And, you know, it's like, well, dang, y'all didn't do your homework before this. But I think for some people, what you found is, you know, people looked forward to going to work to get away from that person. And, you know, it's, but honestly, if that's the case, then why be with them? You know, y'all are only together for the formality of it, and not because y'all really love one another. So it's
right. Hold on. Yeah, it's kind of like being going to school just to get a free lunch. You know, the lunch ain't that good. You know, and you're supposed to go there for education, but you're poor. That's the only meal you're gonna eat the whole time. So, you know, it's like, but you're still gonna go because you feel like you're forced to go. And so that's like one of the main things. That's how I look at it on situations like that. And but it's just like people want to get married just to have a wedding. So it really just depends on, you know, like, it's like, why are you getting married and you kind of love this person. You're not even in love with this person. You like them a lot, but you're not in love with that person, right? So it's like one of those situations and one of those things where you're like, all right, why am I really here? Or like even my last relationship, I had this epitome of this question is, why are you here? And I say that so much on different situations now, and it's such a strong statement or a strong question. Why are you here? And you can't really lie about it. You're just like, okay, why are you here? And you have to answer that question. And if you answer it wrong, or if you're not truthful about it and somebody can pick it up, that's going to be a whole nother ball game. So, and also, just to answer your question on another perspective, 55% of marriages end in divorce in 2 years. And that was before the pandemic. Now it's up to like 62, if I'm not mistaken, because of the fact that people are just getting together and trying to be with someone because they're lonely, or they're just trying to be with a person because they like them, but are they a fit? Are they a fit for you? And the pandemic forced a lot of couples to try to figure that part out. And if you're not strong enough, and if you're not with the right person, it's just not going to last, pandemic or not.
Yeah, it really reminds me of people not doing the actual work within themselves, right? Not really figuring out what they want. That's one thing I can say about myself. I feel like if you look at my past, my dating probably was wild, and you probably would have thought I was just out here dicking and dodging, doing all kind of crazy shit. And I was, don't get it wrong, but I always knew what I would not accept in a relationship. And you will probably be able to meet women from my past and be like, oh, he was unstable, he didn't know what he wanted, blah, blah, blah. I knew what I wanted the whole time, and I just knew it wasn't you. And I wasn't trying to be one of them people that's like, okay, I didn't want to set those standards of like, this is what I want, so I want you to try to work towards that. I always knew what I wanted. The wife that I married, the woman I married, has all the virtues and personality traits and things that I always said, right? I always used to say, I want a woman who wants a glorious wedding and a lavish wedding, but she'll marry me in the backyard because she loves me so much. Right. I always knew that from a young age. And so every relationship that didn't work, it didn't work for a reason, whether they left me or I left them. It didn't work for a reason because I knew. And for me to have manifested the relationship that I have now is amazing because, I mean, I love her stinky socks. I love her dirty drawers. You know what I mean? And she loves mine. And we gonna fight to the end of it. You know what I mean?
Damn, the streets and everything, huh? That's what we doing today? That's love right there, girl. I love the streets like bacon.
But yeah, people don't do enough of that work. I think some people, and also people have these idealized versions of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You see memes of a woman saying, I want my man who wants to come home and not go to the club. Actually, you kind of want that man that go to the club and then come home to you afterwards. Because that means he's still doing shit for himself, right?
Absolutely.
If he can be able to go to the club, mix it up with the boys, and then come home to you, that night, now he has a balanced lifestyle, right? I want a man who's gonna know to do the dishes and then give me a back rub after. You're probably not gonna find that. You might find a dude to give you a back rub once a week.
Right.
He might be a clean freak and do the dishes more than you. You never know. But the key is, are you willing and able to love this man or this woman throughout all their pros and their cons?
Right.
Because it's not gonna just be all of that. Can you love them through that bullshit at the same time? Like this motherfucker loves to cook and clean, but do they got a good heart?
Right.
At your lowest, when your anxiety's acting up, is that motherfucker coming, like he getting off of work, coming to hug you, but he might not take out the trash every day?
Right. Sometimes as humans, we forget to do certain things, like especially once you get in a relationship and you get in a routine, sometimes you're too tired. There's been plenty of times I've made it home and I'm like looking at the trash like, man, I'm taking that out tomorrow. And I'm tired, and you don't want to hear somebody in your ear like, you need to take out the trash. And it's like, but I'm tired right now. Let me be tired because I'll let you be tired. Like, I don't rub your back and wash the dishes for 28 days straight because you say that's what you want and based on your Facebook post. So can I get 3 days? You have 5 days, you're on your period. Like, because you like beating out walls, but I have to let you be that way because that's just your natural self whenever you're going through that time. So if I have a time where I'm just tired and I don't want to be bothered or I need my space, I need that time as well. And that's when things starts to work out because both people respect each other on those levels.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't respect someone's time or their space, that's when it gets real disrespectful. And that's when things gets a little bit tense. And little tense turns into big tense, turns into I don't want to fuck with you no more.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, as they put in the divorce papers, right? It really, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. And that's something that we have to realize. We tend to try to make everything about ourselves, but making everything about trying to make it look like it's about that person that you're with or you love, where you're in essence making it about yourself if you can't respect that person's time or respect their space based upon what they're trying to convey to you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either if somebody wants their time and space. Sometimes it just happens that way, depending on what that person is doing or what they're trying to do with themselves.
I mean, we make it about stats, right? And what we don't do is we stop respecting each other's humanity, right? That's the thing we talk about in our group is humanity. Like, I'm so like what we just said about the pandemic. Oh, I didn't know you didn't just dress like this every day. I didn't know you smelled like this every day. Like, oh, you got crust in your eyes. Like, we don't allow our relationship to just be human. Like, this motherfucker was a human before. Because what you said with the representatives, like, when you go on them first couple dates, you dress to the nines, feel good, you brush your teeth, you probably cleaned your nails, and really, you're probably a funky, dirty motherfucker in the background. And I'm not judging. I'm saying that you ain't being real.
No, that's true. You have no idea how many dates I've been on where I'm talking to the woman and she's fine, man. She got the cocktail dress on. She got the heels. I have a red dress. I know that was your favorite color. I said she already catering towards that. And then I drop off at her house, go to her house, and her house smell like feet and corn chips.
Table. Bruh, the coffee table. Her coffee table got Newport boxes and ashes, weed splitting.
She trying to save up the points, man, for the Newport boxes. But that shit needs a space though, not in front of the kids. You got the child like gnawing on the bottom of the Newport box. It's like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, but you're clean. Like her legs are lotion. You know, her skin is glistening from the Bed Bath and Beyond, the Bath and Body Works lotion that
Yep.
she got. You know, and she has on like $200 perfume, and she has on Gucci, whatever, red bottoms and all this other stuff. And you go to a house and a house stink. And it's like, why your house stink? Or you get in her car and her car is just horrible. She has food from the last 3 weeks and boxes and stuff in the back seat of the car. And she said, well, you know, women don't clean their car. I'm like, no, trifling women don't clean their car. Now, if the outside dirty, let's do the outside, but have some order. Have some order with yourself. You don't have no order with yourself. How you gonna have order with me?
But that's
a big red
the whole
flag.
thing about it, where like that's the whole thing about it, because like it's almost hard to go back from that because the presentation was so immaculate, and then you see this where you're like, maybe if you would have told me the real, I would have liked the Newport boxes and ashes and blunt wrappings on the track. Like, you know, maybe I would, but like now it's hard. It's hard to go back because you came off like this, and now you look like I love New York. You know what I mean? So then it's just another whole thing.
Yeah. Right, exactly. It's a whole nother thing. Give me a chance to let me know who you really are. And once again, that's why I say to men and women, even though this is a show about the brothers, but men and women alike, I say, hey, look, outline your attributes first, you know, and your virtues first. Put that out there first. And if somebody doesn't like it, cool. They don't have to like anything. No one has to like you or love you. That's fine. That shouldn't be a problem. You know, it just, when it's a problem, that's when you should see within yourself that you have problems yourself. You know, and I openly admit I used to be like that, where I cared so much about what people thought of me. And that came from childhood, you know, this somehow, some way becoming a black sheep. And I want not only everyone to love me, but I want everybody to love each other in the family. So I'm trying to figure out, well, I'm going to bend over backwards to make these people happy, even doing stuff that I usually don't do. And it always would bite me in the ass because of the fact that I'm not doing what I would normally do every day. I'm just doing stuff just to make other people happy. And then it brought on depression, regret, resentment with everybody, not just the people that seemed like I couldn't please, but it was also resentment to the people I was with, and they weren't even doing anything. So I'm like, well, from now on, once I say I'm gonna set a standard, I'm gonna always be who I am regardless, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. And if they don't like it, tough. You know, I'll cry today and I'll be happy tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, I'm not wasting anyone's time. And it's not just me, but it's the other person as well. You know, I'm not just gonna waste your time like that.